everybody. Welcome to Rebellious. So glad to have you with us. So, this evening, I've got an amazing guest. Her name is Tracey Bart, and she happens to do something very specific. And I wasn't even aware that this sort of thing is specialized and you can actually request that it exists. It's sort of, I mean, you think weddings, you think special occasions, really, really awesome. She is a birthing photographer. And welcome, Tracey. I think we've got a bit of a sound issue. No,
I'm good,
Tracey, you
yeah.
there?
I'm here. Yeah, hello.
Hello,
Hi, Ruth.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
No, it's lovely to have you, and I'm so excited to learn all about your world and the amazing stories. And I see we have a lag on the line, but we'll get that sorted out quickly. But yeah, tell me sort of how you got to this point and take us away. Let us look into your world through your lens.
Oh dear, here we go. I started doing photography full time when I was around about just after the birth of my second child. And that was in 2012. And around about 2013, I started getting really serious and interested in it. Doing the odd family photo here, maternity session, the fun stuff. And then 2016, I got a call from a client on the Monday evening, and she said, "Hi, her name is so and so. She would like to do a newborn session." So I was like, "Great, how old is your baby?" And she said, "No, we're having cesarean on the Wednesday." And on the top of my head, I don't know what I was thinking. I just said to her, "Would you like to have a birth photographer?" And she's like, "Okay, sure. Let me think about it. Let me speak to my husband quickly." And I was thinking she was going to put the phone down and call me back the next day, or not at all, which often happens. And she just called her husband, "Francois, would you like a birth photographer?" Crickets. And then, "Yeah, sure." And and that's how I got into it. And then just as we finished the conversation, I was like, what on earth have I just done? What did I get myself into? And then I started doing a bit of research. I knew the hospital where she was having a baby at, got in contact with the right people there. And luckily, the lady there in charge of the what happens there, the patient experience manager, she was really kind, and she just said to me, "You actually need to be registered." But because she was on the board of the South African Birth Photographers Association, she said to me, "Right, here's all the protocols that you need to follow. Here's all the rules. If you don't follow it, you'll never see the inside of this hospital again." So I was just going like this. And she was really amazing. She talked me through it. She told me what to expect. And she could obviously see on my website that I am a photographer. I'm not just a hobbyist and all that stuff. So she knew I would eventually take this quite seriously. And Wednesday morning, 6 o'clock, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, very excited, walked into the hospital, and I did my first birth.
Wonderful.
And then after that, it was an amazing experience. Your first baby, you never forget, because it just brings up so many memories from your own birth and your own pregnancy and all those exciting experiences and feelings. It just brings it all up. And then since then I got involved with as an association, and my mentor found me online, and she said, "Right, we need to get you on board." And her name is Anne. She's amazing. And she just got me on board, and since then I haven't looked back.
All right. No, it's just such a, I mean, you take these things, you expect, yes, dad's going to be there with the camera or a family member, but it's also like very like, oh, you don't necessarily want too much your privacy, and you look probably horrendous, but I mean, your photos are so special. I see we've got a few viewers joining us. Hello, Kat is also from Cape Town. She's also does amazing things with the small business community. And Brett is here. Hi, Brett. I think he's got a question. If you were in America, I would recommend to you, my kid is pregnant. Oh, so you'd already have a customer in the US of A.
It's a pity I can't fly over with a new travel ban, but yeah.
Yeah, pity. And this is, but we'll touch it, obviously, with the COVID and how your life has been impacted on that. There's so many amazing photos, but the one photo is the one I call Miracle in the one with the surrogate. So I don't know
Yeah.
if there's a photograph of that. Is that one on? That's, wait, let me just ask TG. I think it's coming. So tell us a little bit about the story. This is such a
Okay.
amazing visual like photograph, and what I love is you see. Okay, so explain who's who, because I know that the grandmother, her mother, is there to assist her
Mm.
and be with her,
Yes.
and the sheer delight that you've captured
Y-
in her
Yeah.
face is incredible.
Yeah. No,
So
that is really just such a heartwarming story. This lady contacted me and she told me her story, and I was just in tears. Um, she had a bad relationship and it didn't work out, and she's in a profession where it's really hard to get into the adoption because of the hours that she works and stuff in, and also being single. It was really not an option for her, and she is desperate for a child of her own, and she had a couple of fertility issues as well, so all the doors was just closing in on her.
mm,
So she decided to get a donor egg. She decided to get a sperm donor as well, and she was a surrogate for her own, for herself.
wow.
Um,
Well, thank God
so
she could do that. Thank God she could
absolutely.
actually carry. Wow.
Oh yeah. So she had a beautiful pregnancy. The usual things that women go through: the nausea, the not crankiness, but the emotions and the
Hormones.
hormone. Oh yes, aren't those a blessing? So yeah, so we did her maternity session on this Saturday, and her elective surgery date was about, I think, about 10 days afterwards. So we did it on the Saturday, and on the Sunday, I still had friends over here for a bra. I get the call and saying something's happening, but she's going to hospital. And I was like, all my friends understand. They know that this is what I do. This is what I love. And
Yes,
packed
you're
my
on call.
bag, and off I went. So I drove about 30 kilometers in 12 minutes, it felt like, and I was
Sure.
there. So the photo that you're referring to is, so obviously she doesn't have a partner, but her mother was in the theater with her, and you are allowed to nominate anybody that you feel appropriate as to be a birth partner, and she chose a mum. And so how special for the mum to see her grandchild being born, and it
Incredible.
and just the journey that the two of them have walked together. It is just,
Hmm.
yeah,
I
it's just
mean,
one of my
nothing,
standout
I don't think
stories.
there's anything more solidifying like
Oh,
that.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It is just
And for you to
beautiful. Yeah.
be there and capture
Mm,
that, and I think obviously if I'd had different circumstances in I mean, mine was totally emergency, but I
mm.
would have, because I was knocked out actually. Mine was a quick
Oh,
C-section,
goodness.
knock me out,
Yeah.
get me out, get it. Welcome, Elizabeth. I see Elizabeth is here this evening. Hello.
Hello.
Elizabeth is also a very creative person, and yes, they're from Cape Town as well. Um,
Okay.
so I think I would have liked to have seen what the doctors were doing to me, because I wasn't there. I can't
Yeah.
remember
Mm,
everything, but my mom and my husband were there at the time, and it's so special because you think you remember and you try and hold on to those
mm,
memories,
yeah.
but it's difficult. I think you
Mm,
groggy, you angry, I mean, some of the emotions that are captured in your photography is, oh, it's
oh,
incredible. I love it.
yeah.
Um,
I just click away. It's the people in front of me that do all the hard work. I'm just a fly on the wall, but it's just amazing to see that whole unfold. It is just beautiful to be part of it, and it's such a privilege as well, because you can imagine it's a hospital, it's a theater, it's a delivery room. It's such a sterile and foreign environment to the regular person on the street. So to be able to get access to those forbidden spaces is just
mhm.
the biggest privilege ever. It's just amazing. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm
incredible.
always just so grateful to clients who actually allow you to enter that. I think it's a very sacred space when a child enters the
Mm,
world. Into that space, it's just beautiful to be part of it. Yeah, it's
sure.
amazing.
And you've gotten to know the doctors, the
Oh
gynaes,
yeah.
the
Mm,
anesthetists,
yeah.
and do they recommend you to friends? Do you have like a rapport with people? Do you find you get a lot of referrals at
I would like
times?
to think so, but I think a doctor is kind of like Switzerland. They don't want to to push one agenda, one photographer over another photographer, because clients need to have, if client has a preferred photographer, then they can bring them in. I'm always very grateful if I do get a referral from a doctor. That always stands in, it's the biggest compliment. But yeah, I know that often when I arrive at a hospital and a doctor sees me and is like, oh, hello, how are you doing? And, oh, it's nice to have you here today. And so that's always nice. The nurses recognize you as well. And yeah, because you actually become part of the birthing team as well. Although I'm not allowed to do anything or advise or anything like that, I'm not a medical person. I do not give medical advice. But if a client asks me what was my experience and I had my child, so I can always share that with them. Sometimes it's similar, sometimes it's not, but no two births are the same. So I'm not there to give advice. I'm there to be a familiar face that they can look at and, draw strength from, and I'm part of their team. It's just, amazing.
And other fathers, I look at some of the men in your photograph. I mean, I love this one also with the tears. Like,
Oh, yes.
it's just incredible. And I look at the men, and they're also so full of emotion that I don't even think they realize. It's almost like they glow from their solar plexus out, loving seeing their bubbas for the first time, and you capturing, I think, is so special, because men are sort of blasé and and of course in and what's incredible as well, it's so awesome, because in the 80s and 90s, any baby we saw come out of Hollywood.
Yes.
I've had a bit of flu, people. That's why you didn't see me last week. But all better. Not on a respirator yet, thank God. But and you see this 3-month baby come out of on the film, and it's like, huh? And I think also, I mean, I was so naive when it came to the birth of my son. Well, I wouldn't say birth, but emergency. He was this tiny little thing, and I was like, huh, what am I gonna do with this, And I think as a woman as well, you have this funny growing thing inside of you, especially for your first child. And it's such a shock, the whole thing from beginning, finding out about the pregnancy, whether you're wanting to have that baby or just finding out, and you being there in the final moments, I think is really amazing. I think it's so important.
We call it telling someone's birth story, and that is really what we do, because often when you're in theater having a C-section, all you see is the light above you, and you're flat on your back, and all you can see is the person there in that vision, and that blind spot. You can kind of see what's going on, and because we are visual beings, it kind of, you attach memories to it, and when you can't see what's going on around you, really don't have a lot of memories of that event. So it is very, and also it's very empowering for women afterwards to see them going through labor pains and contractions, and you're like, oh, I did that. But if you didn't have the photos, nothing can stir up those memories again, because you do forget the pain. And it all just brings it back to me. And I actually had a woman, a client who's in the beginning, she said to me, she's very private. She doesn't want any of the, those kind of photos.
Yes,
and
the intimate.
yeah,
Yes.
the crowning and
No
all that.
crowning.
Yeah, so she said no photos down there. And while she was going through contractions and stuff, she actually said to me, what does it look like? So I said to her, I will take a photo for you, but it's just for you, no one else. And while she was crowning, I took this photo, and you can actually just see the baby's head. You can see the little ears, you can see the little brows here and everything. And she said to me, out of all the photos of that day, that's her favorite. Reminds her of how strong she was. I mean, she's a tiny little woman. She's petite. And she just said to me, whenever she just feels like, nah, she's done with it, having a bad day, give me a bottle of wine, and she just looks at that photo, and it's just a reminder of how amazing she was in that day. So it's a great reminder for people, very empowering.
No, I can believe so. Sure. All right. Wow. And some of the more hectic experiences you have. Also, you spoke about in your introduction to me, you spoke about, and I looked up on, just give me the website again. It's the SA Birthing Associate.
sabirthphotographers.com.
Okay.
It's sabirthphotographers.com. That's the association I belong to. We're
Mm-hmm.
about 75 members strong, and counting. We're based all over the country, mostly Gauteng and Cape Town area, but we are expanding into Durban, Port Elizabeth, the rural areas. And Mpumalanga, we've got a few photographers there as well. Even on the northwestern province, Potchefstroom, those places as well. We are expanding there now as well. So it's great to see that people are opening up to the genre of birth photography, and it's doctors are actually starting to realize the value of it for clients and patients, because it's all adding towards a positive birth experience. I think that's the aim for any birth photographer, is that you want to be part of a positive birth experience.
Sure.
Sometimes things do get a little hairy and it gets a bit anxious at some stages, but luckily for me, all of my births have had it was a positive experience for everyone involved, especially the dad, the mum, when the grandparents come in afterwards.
Yes,
And
that's also
that
one of
is
my
just,
favorites, with the
yeah.
grandfather, and also glowing, like just
Oh yeah.
no, and to capture
Yeah.
that is just, I think, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And we
Yeah.
spoke about, okay, like obviously the doctors and the gynaes, and you mentioned a name called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Doulas.
Doula.
So me and my little small fishbowl I've never heard of I know my friend had a birthing mother, but I've never
A
heard of a
midwife.
doula.
Yes, doulas do amazing work. I had a doula at both my births. One was a natural delivery. Everything went according to plan. It was just textbook. My second child, my second little boy, his birth went well, and then all of a sudden the wheels just came off, quite literally. Name a problem, it crept up. But
Sure.
during all that panic stations, the doula is actually just there to bring it down to center, and she makes sense of all the monitors going on. She's like an interpreter between you and the doctor and the midwife and the nurses. Because she's been there, she's trained in all types of scenarios. They just really calm things down for you, and not just for the mum, but for the birthing partner as well. I always recommend to people, hey, do you have a doula? Right, now you need a birth photographer. That's my go-to.
And me.
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
they
brilliant.
really do amazing work. Yeah.
Brett Sessom says, best of luck, Tracy. And Brett, good luck with was it your cousin? Yes, your cousin who's having a baby, and all the best to her.
Good luck. Take lots of
Yes.
photos.
I don't think you'll be allowed in the theater or in the delivery room.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, incredible. And we were talking about the miracle inception baby in the beginning, and we also prior spoke about the stigma for couples who are trying to fall pregnant. And I don't know, maybe my perspective on it is different. At one stage I wanted to donate my eggs, but because I had a son already, my rabbi sort of said no, but then we have to sort of reveal who you are, and I didn't really want to do that, so I decided against it. But apparently my gynae, I was at the gynae last week, and she said I have very, very happy eggs, so I might consider it.
Oh, goodness me, it's Easter every day.
Yeah, every like 21 days or something. Excuse me. But yes, and we were talking about the stigma, and I think for me, I just think the miracle of birth is so obviously miraculous, because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yeah.
And when I felt pregnant, it was such a shock. I'd had miscarriages before. Not that I was really expecting it, but it was a surprise. So I was in shock at first, but happy. Wasn't planned. But he's remarkable. I love my son, and I'm blessed to have him. But yes, so let's talk about a little bit the stigma. I know obviously gay couples want to have children.
Yeah.
They're women who can't fall pregnant, who go through a hellishly invasive experience, and costly. I mean,
yeah. Luckily for me, I didn't have to go through any of those things. But some of my clients who have had miracle babies, and even rainbow babies, that a rainbow baby is someone who falls pregnant after a miscarriage. We call those little rainbow babies. So
Okay.
yeah, it is traumatic. It is really traumatic to go through the highs and lows emotionally, physically, and it is a very invasive procedure that you actually have to go through, and just
Mm,
the anxiety. And it is just often, it can make or break a couple, or it can make or break a person.
mm,
But yeah, relationships do take strain during that time, and you can just see a couple who have gone through years and years of infertility, and they're getting pregnant, and all those struggles that they actually go through.
and
Sometimes finding the right surrogate, and then the surrogate miscarriages, all those things, and the financial pressures is just astronomical. And eventually when they hold that baby, you can just see years and years just flows away. It is just amazing to see that. And
that's incredible.
unfortunately, I don't know what it is, but there is a stigma involved, or almost like a shame. I can't fall pregnant. It makes me less of a woman. I don't know what it is. Maybe
Mm,
some of the people watching can
mm,
enlighten us or have their own story to share with us. But I don't
mm,
know what it is. But there always seems like there's those aunties who look at you. I
mm,
think people feel like if they can't fall pregnant, then auntie is going to look at you like this.
mm. Yeah,
I
the
really don't know
draconian, the
what it is.
draconian
Yeah,
ninny nagger, the grouch of the old of the
yeah,
town, sort of, you know, that
yeah.
that Auntie Bessie that's comes to every Christmas lunch, and you know, if you weren't married, why aren't you married yet? Why
Oh
aren't you a
yes,
career woman? Why aren't you have the kids? Blah, blah, blah. You know, so
yeah. I think people don't like being spoken of behind their backs, because they know those kind of people do talk, and it's not a nice. It's got nothing to do with anybody, whether you decide to have
mm,
children, how you get your child. It's got
mm,
nothing to do with anybody. And
mm,
I think
mm,
the shame should actually be reversed. It should be reflected back at those people who,
mm,
yeah,
mm.
that's what I
Look, I've
feel.
got a
But
lot of friends as well who've chosen not to have children,
mm,
but that's their right. You know, at the end of the
absolutely,
day, um, it might be health. You never know, you know. And then also, I think more of the stigma is also if you haven't had children, people are more inclined to think, oh, well, maybe she can't have children. Maybe you
mm,
know. And I get where you're coming from. I understand
mm,
that.
mm,
But I think no woman should ever feel less than at all.
yeah.
And maybe I'm talking out of the top of my head, but I just think it's excuse me, it's very hard. But I think be kind to yourself. You know, I have this sort of running
Absolutely.
motto and rutting, and even though some days I forget it myself, you've got to be kind to yourself. And if you less
Yeah.
kind and less stressed, then things happen. You know.
Yeah. And also,
So
yeah, I think we should stop being, not obsessed, but, bothered with what other people think of us. It really has got nothing to do with anybody, what you decide to do or not do with your life. It's got
mm,
absolutely is no one's business but your own. And
mhm.
I think people are starting to get around to that. But yeah, it's an amazing journey to be part of when someone
Taken
eventually,
us how many
oh,
millions of years or whatever. I don't know. I believe, look, I'm not an evolutionist, I'll be honest. Um, but when I watched that movie on, what was it, Netflix recently, Noah, and also I think the
okay.
the one daughter-in-law also can't have children, and then she gets blessed, and I realized how special it is. And even a journey, I think also the people you meet and how your journey evolves, you grow from that journey, you
Mm,
become better, you deepen your soul, you know, um
mm,
for that.
yeah. And also
So,
it's
and
life
obviously,
experience. Yeah. Yeah.
do you find there more C-sections now? I mean, I know South Africa's renowned for C-sections, like we're one of the top
Yeah.
C-section countries of the world.
Mm, mm.
Um,
Yeah. Even when a client calls me up and she says she's going to have a cesarean section and all that kind of things, it's got nothing to do with me. How people choose to have their baby, it is their decision. It's their body. I cannot give my opinion on it at all, and I really, really don't. What did I want to say now? C-sections, it is convenient, but also people do it for various reasons. There could be something that we are not aware of or we can't see. There also could be that an underlying fear that the mother has, that we are. Everybody has their own reason for how they choose to birth their baby.
Is that your call? Is your standby call coming through?
My AirPods are flat. I don't know why they ran out so quick.
Yeah, I had a pair and they didn't last very long, and I thought, no, I'll take them back. They weren't very
much.
All right, and then also
I do have it's about and even if someone has a scheduled C-section planned, I found that half of my C-sections do not happen on that planned day. It's amazing. Something happens before the doctor sees something, or the mother goes into natural labor. Yeah, so having a C-section date is not even that it is going to be on that date. Yeah, it's quite it's an interesting thing to note of that actually does happen.
And then I also see in your photographs you had a water birth, like at home. It looks like it was done at home.
Yes.
So that's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, that is quite an amazing birth. It's water is just such a relieving element to be in. It just helps with the contractions. It's lukewarm. It's very soothing. So yeah, that's quite interesting to be part of. That specific birth that I think you're speaking of, that was such a quick birth. I mean, I arrived while the mother was having heavy contractions, and then within 40 to an hour, she was holding her baby. It happened that quickly. And obviously when there's a home birth, there's very little intervention or pain relief or anything like that for the mum, but it's just such a caring, warm, nurturing environment. And people sometimes think that they cannot create that in a hospital, but you can. But home birth it's something quite special. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm actually waiting for a moment. So if my phone rings, I do apologize. I am waiting for the call.
Oh, brilliant. Well, clearly, thank God. I mean, and how is this whole lockdown? I mean, obviously you haven't been able to go to hospitals now. I mean, they now may be allowing fathers, once they've had tests and had everything done.
It's frustrating, but you can understand why. I mean, the frontline workers are under tremendous pressure. The doctors, the nurses, they've got to be cocooned almost, and kept safe, because what would we do without doctors in a time like this? So understandably, but frustrating as well, because the first few months of lockdown we weren't allowed at all, and then it started getting better. Then on the 1st of October, when level, what was it? I've lost count. 2 or 1 was announced.
Yeah. I just know that we're still in lockdown. Like some people talk about it and they go, but yeah, when we go into lockdown, I'm like, we are in lockdown. We haven't unlifted the lockdown. Like,
yeah, I just hope the case is going to drought again, because we can have ESCOM stage 5, we can have lockdown level 3, and then we can have water restrictions that we only water on Wednesdays. So yeah, it's enough. But so the first few months was really rough, and then on the 1st of October we were allowed to go back in to hospitals, because the curve, the infection rates was really coming down at a good rate. And then just before Christmas, we heard, nope, hospitals are closing again because of the second wave, the infection rates climbing again. So yeah, it has been tough. I've missed out on quite a few births, unfortunately, and we've tried everything. I've even tried to train dads how to use a camera properly and how to get a nice angle on this. But in that moment, euphoria, the camera goes in the bag, and that's how it should be actually. But now they're missing out on photos. But they've got a healthy baby. They've just got to cling on and write down memories and what happened on the day. I actually had a birth that was on the 1st of June, and the the dad wasn't allowed to go to hospital because he was in contact with someone who had corona. So because he was the first contact person, he wasn't allowed near the hospital. So he could only see his baby when his wife and the baby came home. So that was terrible for them. And I just feel so sorry. It is horrendous what's going on.
I know a few friends who've happened to deliver in the last year, and I don't think it's been easy on anyone, or even people who have been sick, Yeah. But all right, and you're also on Instagram.
Yes,
you
I
have
am.
your account. Yes. So hello, little one.
Yes. I do all sorts of photography. But I feel like because birth photography is such a niche market and it's not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, a person who likes wildlife photography is necessarily going to be into a baby being displayed for the first time or those emotional. So I had to separate the two. So my main photography account is Tracey Bart Photography, Tracey with a C-E-Y. And then I separated into a birth photography page as well, and that's just called Hello Little One by Tracey. And yeah, there's all my happy babies and moments and photos that make you go,
that's lovely, on Instagram. So everybody who is on Instagram, check her out. And you might see some joyous moments when you're feeling a bit down and you click on one of those faces. It truly makes you, I think, feel the humanity of just joy and what life used to be. And hopefully not too far away, we'll experience that again. Some people were saying that we're living in such limbo at the moment with everything, people with work, people with jobs, not knowing if they're going to have a job in the morning. Hey, Carl, I see 1 second. TG, the battery on this laptop is about to die. 1 second, we just got to find a charger. This is usually, I don't know how this happened, but okay, we're making a plan. Hello, Carl. Okay, I can't read what he's saying. What? Moderna means lol. I don't know if I said that right.
Isn't that the vaccination?
Derma moments. I don't know what that is. I have to Google it. We got I know why. My son was using this laptop for school today, and that's why. Yes, and that's why we're running late. So if we get cut off, so sorry. But yeah, the stress it's just it's just not cricket. But I'm just so grateful that you joined me this evening. And okay, here we go. We've got electricity, people. Besides for Eskom, we are live. We are doing this. We are plugging. Yes, we are. And I mean, I find it also amazing just looking at those photos of how, like, it almost looks like clay. That baby, it doesn't look real, but it is real.
It is real.
Does that make sense? To have a sort of.
Yeah, they almost look too perfect, like they've just been molded, and they're perfect little beings when they come out. It's sorry for the squeamish out there, but when the baby comes out, and often that's why a lot of photographers do, when the baby comes out, the first one, it's usually in black and white because there is a bit of blood involved, there is a bit of vernix involved. Vernix is the white stuff.
Okay, the amniotic sac.
No, it's just a white covering that's around the baby. It's great for them. It's got very great antibiotic and so on. It's almost cheese-like, if I can be very graphic. But it is, they covered in that. And often a baby on the TV, we were really misinformed in the 80s. When a mother is in labor, the perfect pearl drops on the head and she's contracting and it's just so beautiful. Birth is not like that. Although I have seen people birth beautifully, for the most of us, it is hard work. It is hard work. Not glamorous. It is not pretty, but it is beautiful.
The pregnant form, to me, there's an amazing glow a pregnant woman gets. I mean, her hair gets thick and the nails get strong and long. And okay, with me, I went numb in some.
Yeah, not for everyone. Some people have hair loss during pregnancy.
Really?
So sometimes they do. But also the way a woman's back curves while she's pregnant, and the more pregnant she becomes, the further along she gets in her pregnancy, the back just curves more and more. It's amazing to see how your body just copes with, incubating this miracle. It's fascinating. I can never get enough of it. It's beautiful.
No,
Yeah.
and it's so important to have a supporting family member, partner, friend, anyone. I don't think, and now anything goes. So, yeah. I see. And then we've got one of our last amazing pictures is of the twins.
Yes, that's a special story.
Twin birth.
And twin birth. That was actually, I can't see the photos now because I can't put my second stream on silent, so it's going to interfere. But is it the one with the two babies being held like that? Yeah, okay. That was a surrogate birth, and that is a lovely couple couldn't fall pregnant naturally. They went the fertility route, tried everything, didn't work. So they started getting, interested in the whole surrogacy pregnancy thing. And they found an amazing couple. And both the surrogate mother and the father was at the birth when it happened, as well as the biological mom and dad. They were there as well. So,
sure.
Yeah, so they literally surrogate their baby. It was just beautiful. But now the story was the surrogate mom went into labor naturally. So we get to the hospital, everybody's excited now. It's quite a full delivery room. It's because it's the gynecologist, it's the surrogate father, it is the surrogate mom who's in labor, it's the biological mom and dad, it's a midwife, it's two pediatricians. It's a busy room. And the surrogate mom is not feeling any contractions. There's nothing going on. So the doctor does all these checks and stuff, and he says, listen, baby's not going to come within the next 36 hours. He recommends we keep the surrogate mom there, and we all go home and relax, and that's going to be it. Okay, so I drive all the way home, about 40 kilometers, and I just pull my car in the garage. I get the call, and they tell me, we're pushing. So
wow,
I pretty much had to drive through thick traffic to get there. Unfortunately, I missed the first baby's birth, but it is what it is. And just as I walk in, I've got my two cameras there, and I nod to the doctor, and he knows, and we've got a thing going, and I'm like, right, I can stand there. And just as I stand there, the second baby is delivered beautifully, but quite a bang, literally a bang. It's like her water broke at the same time that this baby came out. So it was just literally a bang. It was, I've never seen anything like this. And it was an amazing birth to be part of. Just everybody in that room was just so happy. So there's two pediatricians, there's two midwives, there's just two of everything in there.
Twins.
It was, and then at the end, it was just the two most perfect little babies. And the joy on that couple's face, you can just see years and years of stress just gone. Yeah.
And then I see we've got a question here. I'm not sure if you know. Carl asks, identical twins or fraternal twins?
I didn't go into that much details. I think, I didn't ask.
There's actually, I don't know if I'm right, but fraternal twins is when I think they're two separate eggs, and then because then they're different slightly. Like I've got a friend who's had fraternal twins, and identical is when one egg splits. But you guys don't quote me. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. And I'm not Google. You might have to check on that. But I think that's the difference when it's two separate eggs that are fertilized.
If I'm going to try and answer that, I will just seriously embarrass myself. So I'm not even going to try. There was two of them.
I'm taking a lucky guess here.
There was two of them, and they're perfect.
For R1,000,000, let's go. But thank you so much. Okay, so it's Tracey Bart, and you've got your website. Give it to us again.
It's traceybartphotography.com. All my links are on there as well. I'm on Facebook. I am on Instagram, and that's.
We'll put some links as well below. We'll
Awesome.
also do that, and I hope we get lots of views and you hopefully get business in the future once all
Let's
this
hope so.
chaos.
Let's
Yeah.
hope the curve behaves and we can get lots of beautiful memories for lots of amazing people. So lots of
There are going to be lots of births, I think, with lockdowns.
yes, there's a lot of COVID babies coming. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and I just hope that we are allowed back and that everything is just healthy and safe for everyone to get back into hospital.
Amen. Amen. From your mouth to God's ears.
Let's hope.
All right, everybody. Tracey, hang on. Don't run away. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And hope you are a little bit more educated this evening. I know I am. So thanks, guys. TTFN, everybody. See you
Thanks.
Thursday. Okay. Bye.